Hi, this is Carl Andren of Andren Software Company. Today we're going to examine how to import data off of random files that you might find in the internet or sent to you by someone else, or your old data that you happen to pick up by one method or another. So we're going to go to the internet and say find the Emerald Coast Reef Association. They have this very nice website which has all kinds of information in it, and the Emerald Coast being Okaloosa County, Florida. So first thing we want to do is capture all of the data, but just the data itself and not extraneous stuff, and copy it. I'll use Control-C to copy it. And then we want to try pasting it into various things to see how it might come out. One of the things we might have is Notepad. So we'll do Control-V to paste that in there, and that didn't come out very well. So let's try Word. Microsoft Word. Here we'll paste it into Word, see what we get. That looks pretty good. We should be able to work with something like that if need be. And we'll also try Microsoft Excel. So, in going to Excel, we'll pick this. We'll take a blank spreadsheet, and we'll go Control-V to paste in and see what happens. Now, it turns out, looks pretty darn good. We can expand the columns here. The B column, as you might have recognized, the A column was basically the date that the thing was discovered or added. The B column is a name, although the name is so long in some cases that we might not be able to get it into a appropriate form for your GPS. So I'm going to call this the description and this the comments. Okay, so these two columns are latitude and longitude, and they're in the right form to begin with. This column was depth. This column was height, or relief as they called it. How big is the thing? And then the status and the last edit date. So we have to keep in mind what all these things are. They call this deployed. So if these are artificial reef things, they were deployed on this date, 2003, and so forth. So now we have an Excel spreadsheet with the right kind of data on it. What we need to do is put it into a comma delimited form. So if we go to the File menu and select Save As, and we want to go to this PC, and we want to put it into the C drive, local disk C, in the SeaMarks folder. That's where we're going to have this thing. And it's not going to be book 1, it's going to be the Emerald. We'll call it Emerald Coast Reef Association. Now the type we're saving as wants to be a comma delimited, so that's this one here, not an Excel worksheet. And we're going to call this Emerald Coast Reef Association. So we'll save that as a CSV. It'll complain that, hey, some functions are not going to be here. The links over in this side and the colors over here will not copy through, but I'm not worried about that. So we'll accept that. Now we can go to SeaMarks, go to Tools, Import Waypoints, Text Delimited, comma delimited. What we need to do now is find that Emerald Coast thing. So we'll scroll down through the file and click on Emerald Coast Reef Association and open it. Now we need to identify the fields used for import. The deploy date, maybe I'll call that the date code. Okay, we'll add that as in. Now the next thing was name, but as I said, the names are awfully long, so I'll put that in the description field. And then they had some very long comments for their description. I'll put them in the comments field. And then there was latitude and longitude. I add that in. And there was depth. Add that in. And then they had relief. Relief is not something I have a space for, so I'll put that as unknown 1. What happens is that gets added to comments. And then the next thing was status. Well, call that unknown 2. And then the final one is last edited. I'll call that unknown 3. So now we have, shows here one line of the file, looks like this. Okay, we got deployed, name, description, latitude, longitude, depth, relief, status, and edit date. 9 fields were in the sample and we have identified them. So now we'll go ahead and import them. And voila, we've got them. Now I happen to have the range and bearing set to John's Pass off St. Petersburg, so it exceeds the numbers that I want here. Actually, I've got the number here set to the wrong items. I got it set to feet. So if I go to range and take it from feet, make it nautical miles, and set it there, and now we're 250 miles away at a 305 bearing. So now we have a very nice file. This can be exported to your GPS. You can mess around with it. Looks like all of the GPS numbers are quite reasonable. They have 3 digits after the decimal point, and they're not all zeros like in some cases. So we have a very good file. So I'll save that file. And it'll be saved in SeaMarks folder as an Emerald Coast Reef Association. Now let's try another one. Florida East Coast GPS coordinates. We can try saving the whole thing, but it's really big. There's a huge number of things in here. Let's just try saving a representative sample here off Port St. Lucie. So we take this data, which has depths, and copy, highlight that, do a Control-C to copy it, Control-C, Control-V. Now we got it. Now, the B thing is big enough. The C thing doesn't have anything in it. So I'll make that very tiny. The D thing doesn't have anything in it. I'll make that tiny. Make that tiny. And here we have latitude and longitude. And this is let's go back and see what is this. Back to the top, we have site or area that we're not getting in, so site, description, depth, age, latitude, longitude. And I don't believe we have anything in age, but just depth. Looks like depth. Okay, so we're here, we have depth, age, latitude, longitude. And so we're going to do a skip, description, skip. Well, we put in comments, depth, skip, and so forth. So let's go back to here. I'll make it small so I can see what I'm doing relative to this other stuff here. So again, tools, import waypoints, text delimited, comma delimited. Did I save that yet? Yeah, I believe I did. Or no, I didn't. Over here, we're going to have to save this as to current folder and comma delimited, and we're going to call this Florida East Coast, which I already sort of did once before. So we'll save it. And yes, we'll overwrite what was there. And some features may not carry through, sure. Okay, back in HIS, I'm going to go to Florida East Coast, CSV, open it. Now, these aren't good for what I want to do, so I'm going to delete them all. Start over again. First thing we know is we've got this A, which we're going to skip. We'll add that. Then we have description, so we'll add that. Then we have C and D, which have nothing, so we have a couple of skips. Then we have comments. Add that. Let's see. Yeah. And then depth. Add that. And then there's a skip for that. Add that. And then we have latitude and longitude. But I missed something. So I can add that. I'm going to have to go back. So let's go back to the spreadsheet. And notice one thing here, that the latitude and longitude has numbers or letters N and W in front of the latitude and longitude. And we don't want that. So we're going to have to do something about it. So we go over to the find and select thing and do a replace. You could do Alt H, but in this case we'll do a search and replace. Now I want to take copy this, do a Control C, paste it here, and Control V, and what I want is 27 space. Okay? Because I took the N away, basically. So I want to replace all of those in the spreadsheet. Did 74 replacements. Now I'm going to do the same thing for longitude. Take the W space 80 space, copy it, put it in here, and replace it with 80 space. And replace all of them. We did 64. Well, something is a little funny there because we did 74 of the others. Well, what it is there's some 79s in here. Okay, so we take 79, and of course make sure you do replace it with 79 here. And replace all. And 10 more. So that made the total correct. Alright, so now we need to save it. Do it save as to the current folder, which we saved to before. And we're going to save it as Florida East Coast CSV. Again, comma delimited, and it's just the East Coast stuff. So I'll save it. And yes, I want to replace the one I did earlier. And you might lose some formatting issues, but that's okay. So now we'll go back to SeaMarks and set up the import. We have it set up already, so let's just import it. And let's go expand it up. And we have 75 or so points. So we got some extras here that certainly we'll have to get rid of. But this is what it looks like. Got everything we want. The comments are over here. And we can either do a split on this. Well, actually it may want a split. Because it says there's 92 in here and there's only 75. So let's do a file split. File, split the file. You go from number 1 to number 75. And you OK that. And you want to save the inside part to Florida East Coast. GPS. Replace it. And no, I don't want to save the outside part. Now I'll go over here and open the one I just saved, which now has 75 points in it. And we can take a look, see what they look like, display them on a chart, and they're all off St. Lucie. Okay, that constitutes importing and exporting, or importing text files manipulated with either Notepad, Word, or Excel. Ultimately, you need to do Excel. There are some features in Word that you can use to help you do things. In this case, the Word allows you to select a column of data. You could select individual columns and paste them by themselves one at a time and get rid of the various skips that we had. Or you can do other kinds of things. So at any rate, that's it for now.